Hey guys, this video is going to be about MicroStrategy and its comparison to the Dutch East India Company from the 1600s. These two companies, despite existing in entirely different eras, share striking similarities in their strategies, leadership, and impact. I'll also cover MicroStrategy's thesis, its unique strategies, and the phenomenon surrounding its recent success. Let's dive in. The Dutch East India Company, also known as the VOC, was the world's first multinational corporation. It was established to facilitate global trade, playing a key role in the spice trade between Asia and Europe. And VOC is an abbreviation of its name in the Dutch language. So when did the Dutch East India Company exist? It was founded in the year 1602 and operated for nearly 200 years during the Dutch Golden Age before officially dissolving in 1799. Its collapse, which we'll discuss later, marked the end of an era. The company's success was largely attributed to its leadership. One key figure was John Peterson Cohen, often regarded as the architect behind the company's rise to success and dominance. The company was governed by a central board known as the Lord 17, which oversaw its vast and complex operations. Now, what made the Dutch East India Company so unique was its economic moat, essentially, its competitive advantage, and it was revolutionary for its time. The VOC pioneered the concept of public shares, allowing ordinary people like you and I to invest in the company and own a stake in its success. This innovation led to the creation of the world's first stock exchange in Amsterdam, where shares of the company could be bought and sold. Investors also benefited from stock dividends, the first of its kind. It was a novel concept at the time, and it allowed them to share with the company's profits and losses. Now, the VOC grew so powerful that it essentially became a quasi-government, which is very interesting. It held exclusive rights to establish colonies, negotiate treaties, wage wars, and build forts in foreign territories. However, its dominance didn't last forever. Rival companies like the British East India Company emerged, leading to declining demand for spices and reduced profitability. By 1799, the VOC declared bankruptcy, and its assets and debts were taken over by the Dutch government. Now let's fast forward in time to modern day with MicroStrategy. What is this company, and how did it rise to prominence? Despite gaining widespread attention recently, MicroStrategy has actually been around for decades. It's a publicly traded business intelligence and analytics software company that provides tools to help organizations identify trends, solve problems, and improve their strategies as a business. They were founded in 1989, and it went public via IPO in 1998. However, its identity and business strategy underwent a drastic transformation in 2020, which we'll explore next. And to highlight their leadership, which has been a key driver of its innovation and success, we got Michael Saylor, the company's co-founder and executive chairman. He is the face of its bold strategies. Meanwhile, Phong Le, the current CEO of the company, oversees daily operations and financial planning. Michael Saylor has been with the company since its founding in 1989, making him the longest-serving executive chairman in the stock market today. Although he stepped down as CEO a few years ago, this move allowed him to focus entirely on the company's strategic innovations, particularly its newfound strategy, which we'll discuss very soon. The turning point for MicroStrategy came during the March 2020 COVID liquidity crisis. Amid the historic money printing by the Federal Reserve, the company faced a critical decision, one that would determine its future. At this moment, MicroStrategy had three choices, and this slide outlines them clearly. Number one, sell the company. This is the most common route companies take in a crisis. You sell off assets or merge with a larger competitor to stay afloat. Number two, you keep kicking the can down the road, essentially maintaining the status quo and hoping for a miracle, but most likely leading to the company dying a slow death and declaring Chapter 11 bankruptcy. And then there's number three, and that is taking a big calculated risk. This would be a bold, unconventional move that few would dare to take, but has the potential to completely transform the company. And they made a pivot into Bitcoin with choice three, with the big risk. They adopted it as their main treasury asset, allocating $425 million, and this marked the start of it all. It saved the company and is becoming the biggest story in corporate finance today. Initially, this was seen as just a defensive move to survive as a business. They then shifted their focus from a defensive strategy to an aggressive offensive one. Saylor viewed Bitcoin not just as a store of value, but as a growth asset with transformational potential. By leveraging its common stock as a funding vehicle, MicroStrategy utilized intelligent financial leverage to accumulate even more Bitcoin. MicroStrategy used a variety of intelligence leverage tools, including convertible bonds, at-the-market ATM offerings, and senior secured notes. Most of this financing was unsecured and non-recourse, meaning there were no margin calls or liquidation risks. Even if Bitcoin's price were to say crash by 80, 90% or more, literally tomorrow, crashing to $1, these financial instruments would remain unaffected. This approach ensured that the company could weather extreme volatility without jeopardizing its operations. MicroStrategy's bold strategy has delivered extraordinary results. They speak for themselves. Since adopting Bitcoin on August 10th, 2020, its stock has outperformed every single S&P 500 company, achieving a staggering return of 1,620%. By comparison, Bitcoin itself has risen 426%, while the top 7 tech companies, called the Mag 7 or Magnificent 7, saw gains of 243%, and the broader S&P 500 increased by just 73%, highlighting the remarkable success of MicroStrategy's approach here. Now, to better understand MicroStrategy's strategy, let's take a step back and explore thermodynamics and the conservation of energy. We all know that energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It can only be transferred or converted. And Bitcoin is a store of digital value, while oil is a store of physical energy. Oil can be extracted and refined for practical use, while Bitcoin can be extracted via mining and refined into a secure monetary asset. Now, this slide highlights the parallels between crude oil refining and Bitcoin's value transformation later on. This slide was presented in the MicroStrategy earnings call in October of 2024, and it's one of my favorite slides. And basically what it shows is energy companies generate value not just from their crude oil reserves, but from refining crude oil into usable products. The refining process involves stages of increasing refinement from less valuable products like asphalt and fuel oil to highly refined outputs like gasoline, diesel, and jet fuel. These refined products enable the energy sector to create immense economic value. Now let's look at Bitcoin as digital energy. Today, oil represents a $10 trillion asset class, while Bitcoin is still in its infancy as a $1.4 trillion asset. The analogy here is clear. Just as oil companies refine crude oil, MicroStrategy refines Bitcoin's raw potential into tangible financial growth. Now, you might ask, Why not just own Bitcoin instead of investing in a company like MicroStrategy, which owns Bitcoin? The answer lies in the refining process. MicroStrategy operates as a Bitcoin refinery company, using its treasury operations to refine and maximize the value of its Bitcoin holdings. Their strategies include issuing securities, acquiring Bitcoin, and leveraging financial tools for long-term growth. MicroStrategy's Bitcoin refining operations are sophisticated and innovative. The process includes issuing securities such as convertible notes and at-the-market offerings to fund further Bitcoin acquisitions. They intelligently adjust leverage to maximize growth while mitigating risks. And much like the VOC's monopoly on spice trade, MicroStrategy's monopoly is its Bitcoin holdings. Thanks to Bitcoin's supply limit of 21 million, their Bitcoin stack is practically unreachable by any other company. And here we see the latest data on corporate Bitcoin holdings. As of December 28th, 2024, MicroStrategy is miles ahead of every other company in the world. They hold more than 440,000 Bitcoin. To put this in perspective, MicroStrategy's holdings are more than double the combined Bitcoin reserves of all other publicly traded companies. This dominance solidifies MicroStrategy's role as a leader in Bitcoin adoption, making it not only a pioneer, but also a fortress in the digital asset economy. Now let's compare the economic moats of the VOC and MicroStrategy. The VOC's monopoly on the spice trade relied on its ability to dominate trade routes, negotiate treaties, and enforce control through its military and political power. However, this dominance was not permanent. It was eventually challenged by the British East India Company and other rising powers. MicroStrategy's moat, on the other hand, is far more resilient, I would argue. It's built on Bitcoin's unique properties, its absolute scarcity, decentralized nature, and cap supply of 21 million coins. These features make MicroStrategy's Bitcoin holdings a fortress that cannot be breached by competitors in the traditional sense. Unlike the VOC spices, Bitcoin scarcity ensures that MicroStrategy's advantage will only grow as demand for Bitcoin increases. Michael Saylor has outlined a long-term vision for MicroStrategy to become the first Bitcoin-centric financial institution, otherwise known as a Bitcoin bank. Their goal is to continue accumulating Bitcoin indefinitely, never selling it, and leveraging their holdings for innovative financial products. In the future, I believe MicroStrategy will offer stock dividends backed by Bitcoin, Bitcoin lending programs such as mortgages and regular loans. And this vision positions the company as a potential leader in integrating Bitcoin into the broader financial system. Now, here are some of my long-term predictions for MicroStrategy. I believe that by 2035, MicroStrategy could become the #1 company by market capitalization. This would make it the most valuable corporation in history, surpassing giants like Apple, Microsoft, and Amazon. I also think that this rally will be one of the most misunderstood and hated in financial history. Traditional finance experts may struggle to understand MicroStrategy's playbook because they fail to grasp Bitcoin's transformational potential. While at the same time, many Bitcoin advocates may overlook MicroStrategy's innovative use of financial leverage and dismissing it as risky without fully understanding its structure. And here are some additional predictions for MicroStrategy as we look ahead to 2025 and beyond. Bitcoin performance permitting, MicroStrategy, or MSTR, will likely reach $1,000 in 2025. That's what I'm shooting for. And it could even surpass $2,000 if Bitcoin experiences a strong continued bull run. Currently, the stock price is around $300 per share with a market cap of about $80 billion. MicroStrategy will also, I believe, have another 10-to-1 stock split, in 2025, similar to the one they've done previously. And I think MSTR will also likely increase its Bitcoin holdings to around 650,000 Bitcoin by the end of year 2025. And I would say that this prediction is a conservative estimate. They could get as high as 700 or even 800,000 Bitcoin. It all depends on how high Bitcoin goes. And lastly, I believe that history will remember Michael Saylor as the 21st century Warren Buffett or John D. Rockefeller. He will be seen as a visionary leader who transformed MicroStrategy and reshaped corporate finance by refining Bitcoin into the traditional monetary system. As of today, Bitcoin is trading at around $92,200 with a market cap of approximately $1.4 trillion. And MicroStrategy stock price is around $300 per share with a market cap of about $80 billion. These numbers are already impressive, but I believe they are just the beginning. Depending on when you're watching this video, these prices may seem ridiculously low, whether Bitcoin is, $500,000 or $1 million or even $10 million in the future and beyond. One thing is crystal clear. We are still very early in Bitcoin's adoption. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity to witness the birth of a global monetary standard. And with that, that's it. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about Bitcoin, MicroStrategy, etc., make sure to subscribe for future content. I'll be sharing more insights, analysis, and updates on Bitcoin's evolution and MicroStrategy's innovative strategies. Take care and stay strong.